Welcome to Super Movie Brothers. Let's start the show.
This is a podcast on the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.
Welcome back to part 2 of our Halloween specials. We couldn't fit everything in part 1. So I was telling people all throughout the month that we were going to be doing this, ranking the Friday the 13th films against the Halloween films. We're going to rank them all. Then we're going to discuss which one had the better universe. That's happening now. It didn't get to happen in the main episode. But Jay doesn't watch Friday the 13th. He barely gives a shit about Halloween as it is.
Because he sucks.
So I had to get 2 other guests to join me to discuss the Halloween and Friday the 13th films and make comments about the films so that we can have a more interesting discussion rather than me just talking, going through bullet points. So I got my wife, Lauren, who's been going through this with me, watching all these movies. So she is the one that is tortured. She's the tortured soul here.
Yep.
And then I got my sister, Kim, who's the one who introduced me to horror films. So this is right up her alley to discuss these films. So we're going to be discussing those. And then me and Lauren are also going to do a trailer park after this where we discuss the first trailer for Pet Sematary, a movie which Jay doesn't even know existed before this movie was coming out. He says, "What's Pet Sematary?" And I was like,
he's a movie buff.
No, I lost my faith in Jay with that one.
he didn't even know it was a Stephen King story. So
Yeah.
And I bet you he would spell cemetery exactly as it's written on the sign in the movie.
What was it? Semetary, I think.
Phonetically. So me and Lauren are going to be doing that. But before we get into the Halloween and Friday the 13th films, how's everyone's Halloween going so far? What have you been up to? What have you been preparing for, Kim, with Halloween?
Preparing?
Kids costumes and stuff. Me and Jay always do an intro and stuff, so let's do a little bit of that.
So, my daughter wanted to be Samara from The Ring.
7 days.
Now she's 8. Oh yeah,
She's amazing.
Yeah.
That's my goddaughter, everybody.
Yeah.
Super proud.
Love her.
She wanted to be Samara, but then at the last minute she changed to some sorcerer. I don't know. Like you pick out a costume. That's it.
And shit goes to hell.
But then she's like, well, I can wear this dress and I can just pull my long, brown hair over and I'm both. And I'm like, It doesn't
work that way. But okay.
Yeah, all right, whatever.
Look, last year Logan wanted to be a witch, and then she got into planets, so her mom had to turn her witch's hat into a galaxy and make it. She was a space witch.
She was a space witch. Creative, I know.
Yeah.
So
cool. Very cool.
We get it.
Yeah. And Marcus wanted to be an archer. He just wanted not arrow, not like anything. He wanted to be
just a
an
guy
archer.
that shot bone arrows.
Just want to shoot some arrows.
So you know what Santa Claus is bringing them this year?
I have a kid's bow. You can.
I was going to say you can have ours.
Oh,
we have some.
I'll take that for Lacey.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's legit too.
Legit?
It's legit.
All
yeah.
right, cool.
They should not be near each other firing those arrows.
Oh no, they're totally going.
Because I know
to hurt
Lacey.
each
One
other.
comment from Marcus, and she'll turn and.
I dare ya.
Next thing you know, emergency room because you have a fucking training
He put
arrow.
a dent in our front door with a fucking arrow.
And
the kid's arrow.
And that was a suction cup kid's arrow. So
What?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about like, the rounded end, like real,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have some of those too.
Oh,
yeah.
so it came with suction cup and the rounded.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Mhm.
All right. Cool.
This
I'm down.
is a kid's hunting training bow.
That's cool. My daughter will be happy.
So if you needed it to, it could take down a deer. So
or one of the other twins if they were shooting it.
you might be minus a child after this.
you know what? I might just use it on Jay because he has no clue about Pet Sematary.
There you go. Aim high. Aim high.
How high are we going here? He is pretty tall.
And then Lauren has been up to all the same stuff that I have been up to because we do everything together. That's what married couples do.
It's so much fun.
But she did get to experience Logan's first roller coaster ride with me, which was a lot of fun.
And I got to take Logan through the Halloween store by myself.
Yep.
It was fun. She really liked the big spider that jumped out at her. She's like, do that again. Let's see it again. I'm like, are you sure you were really scared? No, let's do it again. And I would make it jump at us and she would run again. And all the clowns and she's like, that's not funny.
Did you go to Spirit Halloween? Did you go through that little like haunted house they had in the back?
Yeah,
Lacey almost shit her pants.
She wasn't okay with that.
Did you?
We didn't make it through.
Did you see the new Ruby's replica props that they have for costumes for Ghostbusters? They have, it's $60. It's a replica trap that actually opens up with a beam of light that shoots out.
He wanted to buy it for
I wanted to buy it.
A 10-second thing we did at a wedding. And I'm like, no.
And then they also have a class 5 free-forming vapor that it's Onion Head. It's Slimer from Ghostbusters. He's $80. But
seen that.
He looks so fucking like the thing from the movie. And then they have a life-size proton pack that was $70.
But the thing is,
I wanted all of it.
If you kept all your toys because your toys were immaculate,
They were,
you wouldn't have this problem.
I didn't get rid of them. My mom got rid of them when I was in college.
And I understand that. You should have hid that shit. Like, I'm putting it in the
It
box.
was in the crawl space. How was I supposed to know she's going to go in there and get rid of it all?
Well, yeah.
I mean, they don't get rid of anything.
So what Lauren was saying was that, me and Lauren were both in a wedding, and the reason I went to the Halloween store and was looking at this stuff was because we all got to do an entrance in the wedding because I was a groomsman and my wife was one of the bridesmaids, and we got to do whatever we wanted for the entrance. So we couldn't think of anything. We didn't want to dance because Lauren can dance, but I can't dance well, so it just would have been shit.
Can we say dance?
Yes.
With quotes
With
up.
quotes.
Lauren can dance.
Lauren can dance.
Quotes.
She
There
can
are
move.
air quotes, people. Air quotes.
She likes to move.
Lauren can
But you-
sashay her hips. She's got hips and she can move them. That's that's dancing.
I got a bigger ass.
I
so
was taught how to dance by a Puerto Rican woman, not you, Kim. Another one.
I'm not Puerto Rican. My husband is.
I just assumed.
Only by
I
injection.
always forget.
Put it this way, I have everything in me but African American. Like, that didn't sound right.
At once?
Just no.
All at once.
Don't put that in there.
That's how Kim rolls.
37 dicks. My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks. In a row?
I was with a guy from Pakistan,
Anyway.
India. Anyway, well, let's just-
Anyway, so me and Lauren were given the opportunity to provide our own props, we were told. So obviously we have a proton pack from when me and Logan were Ghostbusters. I made a trap, and we decided we were going to run out there, be Ghostbusters for our wedding entrance. And it was a lot of fun. People liked it. So
Yep.
that's awesome.
Each of us is wearing an unlicensed nuclear accelerator on his back.
I got to remake the goggles and actually make them look like legit goggles that could do something this time. So
Actually, I have a question here.
Yeah.
Why was I invited to the bachelorette party but not to the wedding?
this was a very small wedding.
Yeah.
Like,
No, that's fine. I just didn't know why I was invited to the bachelorette party.
because they had so much fun at Lauren's bachelorette party. They just wanted you around.
Oh, okay, cool. People like me. Woo!
Woo! Anyway. All right. So that's what we've been up to on this week of Halloween. So let's head over and let's get into Michael Myers versus Jason Voorhees. Which one had the better franchise? So this is going to be fun because we're going to be talking about
Yeah, sure. Let's
Michael
do this.
Myers, Jason Voorhees, all the films that are in each of the franchises. I am leaving out the remakes. So no remakes will be
thank
discussed
God.
here.
Yes.
No Rob Zombie, no 2009 Friday the 13th remake. Those are being left out. And
Are we not going to discuss H2O?
no, H2
That's not a remake, though.
That's not a remake. So H2O, much like Halloween 2018 just came out, erased everything in between Halloween.
Okay.
Halloween 3 forward was all erased. Halloween 2 was the only thing that was canon after that.
Kim?
But see, the thing is that like I actually loved the Rob Zombie Halloween.
Oh,
Like,
I did.
because you didn't.
I like the
Why
first
didn't
one. I
you?
hate the second one.
Hated the second one.
I didn't see this.
I hated the whole ghost mommy thing in the second one. That bothered me.
I didn't watch the second one. I loved the first one only because I'm very interested in people and seeing their perspective and feeling bad for that, having empathy for another person.
That's one of the things. Like the whole reason that John Carpenter made the original one. We're going super deep before we even get into any of the movies.
I know, right?
But the whole reason, like John Carpenter, like did the original one and called him The Shape and only gave him the name of Michael Myers and showed a brief backstory on him was that's all the backstory you needed from him, and you were only left to make up the rest of it based on what Loomis and other people were saying about him. He's pure evil. Yeah. So when you go back and you tell the story, you start peeling back layers, which is why so many of the sequels, spent so much time giving Michael Myers just unnecessary backstory that the Rob Zombie just went, you know what? Fuck it. Here's all the backstory you could ever fucking want. And 30 minutes of it. Enjoy that. And plus, one of the things I didn't like was like, not only did it peel back too many layers on Michael Myers, it was everybody in this town was the world's best trailer trash. Like all of them were
right. Oh, yeah.
Even like the star cheerleaders wearing like a fucking Motorhead shirt. And I'm like, get out of here. No, only in Rob Zombie's world is the lead cheerleader wearing a fucking Motorhead t-shirt and stuff.
That's the thing that's wrong with the world today is because we only see one side of the story. We don't see why that person is the way.
But I hated that they gave him every excuse to be Michael Myers. He had the fucked up stepdaddy. Yeah. Mom was a stripper.
I'm not saying I condone it. But I am very empathetic to people.
Although the stepdad does say that Michael's sister has a cute little dumper on her, so.
And mom sticks around.
Well,
No, I just wasn't crazy about that aspect of it, where it's like you went too deep into Michael Myers,
right?
And instead of making him your movie monster, instead of making him the thing that we should be fearing, when you peel back the layers, you're then empathetic for him, and therefore trying to root for him to kind of kill everybody.
And that's what I did with the Rob Zombie.
So it's not that there's anything wrong with that. It is a different perspective and a different take on it. Yeah. It's just I like my horror movies and my movie monsters to be that. I didn't need to see the shark from Jaws from birth to when he eats Chrissy Watkins, do I?
Yeah, no.
Why did Jaws become who he was?
Jaws, the prequel. And it just starts with him like being hatched from his mom's belly and just like swimming away. And then you have to go through the Jaws music as he eats his
Jaws
first
totally
crab.
had him. Jaws totally had like an evil stepdaddy or something. She totally did.
You swim away, boy. You swim away and you never come back.
But see, as I am who I am, I need to know. Like, I need to know why. Why did you do this? Did you? That just
Kim, we're starting we're starting our own podcast where we're gonna get into serial killers in that way. So
anyway.
You'll have your chance to empathize.
Shut up.
You are the type of person that, like, once you start learning about a serial killer, you're the one that, if you didn't have Sam, would be writing them letters and marrying them from afar, right?
And now I'm not.
Jeez.
I need to be really drunk to be like, oh, it's a good thing to write a letter to a serial killer, because I'm like, so what happened? So when was your first trauma? So anyway.
But would you marry him if he was hot?
A serial killer?
Yeah.
Fuck no. What am I, an idiot?
All right, so let's start breaking them down, and let's start with the Friday the 13th series, since this is probably most recent in our heads, because this is the one that I started watching most recently. And by the way, Halloween 2018 is part of this, but I will leave our remarks spoiler free for it. I don't want to make any spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it. We did our review for it. I don't think you've seen it yet, have you?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so those will remain spoiler free. So I've ranked all the Friday the 13th films from Friday the 13th Part 1 all the way up to Jason X.
We had to put that in there?
You'll be surprised how high it is.
Nuh-uh. Really?
So my least favorite Friday the 13th, the worst one of the bunch, is Friday the 13th Part 5, The New Beginning. And this is the one where it's not Jason. It's actually a paramedic who's kind of like possessed by Jason. We do see the return of Corey Feldman.
Get it. All she gonna do is twerk. Hit the club. Tell him.
Yeah.
in this one, and the kills are actually really bad in this one. This is where they go like really up close, and everything is very clearly plastic, and it's real bad, which it sucks because the one before this was one of the better Friday the 13th, so it takes like this huge dive down in quality.
What year did that one come out?
So it came out in 1985, Kim. So
I was 4.
yeah. So Friday the 13th was pretty pioneering in that it really actually annualized its films, because the first one was in 1980, second one 81, 82, 83, 84, 85. So
They just kept running with that shit, huh?
They serialized that shit pretty quick. You can thank the Friday the 13th series for your Saw having annuals and Paranormal Activity and all that stuff. When something's popular, just fucking hammer it home.
But now
and keep hitting them.
this is your list going like the worst of the movies?
We're starting worst to best.
Worst
So,
to best.
Worst to best.
How many are there? 5?
So
Like, how many-
for Friday the 13th, there are actually 11 because Freddy
my
versus Jason is in this.
okay.
And then for Halloween there is 8.
All right.
No, 9 because
I was like, what?
Friday the 13th, 2018, Halloween 2018. So, all right. So the next worst one after the new beginning is Friday the 13th Part 9. Jason Goes to Hell. So this one is awesome for the gore, but this is the one that introduces Jason as a slug that kind of like drops out of people's bodies and then inhabits another body. Have you never seen this one?
No.
It's been so long,
I think
yeah.
I stopped after 4 and I was like, forget this shit.
It's so bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
I cannot stand this one. This is one of the things we were talking about. It adds unnecessary backstory to Jason, and it's in the 9th entry of the film where it's
I think
here's all this backstory for
I'm
Jason.
pretty sure I watched it once and was like, "Yep, I'm out."
They even added a sister character just so they can like really make themselves
yeah.
like Halloween in
Yeah.
that way. So I can't stand that one. The next one, that's the bad one, and I know you've seen this one. Friday the 13th Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah. I did see that. Do I remember it? I tried to forget
So
it.
first off, a big problem. It barely takes place in Manhattan.
No.
Motherfucker's on a ship the entire time. Spends like 20 minutes in Manhattan. That's like if you drive down 95 and you go through New York to get to Philadelphia. You're like, I just came from New York.
Yeah.
No, motherfucker, you went through New York. But
You wave, you take a picture.
so the
I'm
reason
here.
for that is it's actually super expensive to film in New York. Like it's to get
Oh,
the filming
really?
permits and stuff like that. So they only got the filming permits for several days and stuff. So they had to make this entire story of him killing people on the ship, and the kills on the ship were not that great.
And I mean, if anything with Jason, they always want to make sure they spend the big bucks on kill scenes and actors.
They
and
cut the
shit.
budget on every single one of these as they come out. This is also the one with stupid ghost boy Jason,
Yeah.
which is really weird because Jason we know was like bald and rotting and
Yeah.
stuff like that, but this ghost boy has like hair and it's like there's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah,
It's
but
super
see,
weird.
The thing is that they could have made that movie so much better if they
And
came
can
to Bucks
Jason
County.
swim better in the ocean than he did in the lake?
Unless a shark attacks him like Zombie 2 and a shark.
Is Mega coming? You know.
So this is also we get to see Jason without his mask in this one, and that became like a staple after 6 when they did like the whole undead revival of him and stuff like that. But in this one, the practical effects are so bad when he takes off his mask that it actually looks like it was a nightmare that was dreamed up by Jim Henson's illegitimate child who had sex with an ape. Like it's that child of Jim Henson's illegitimate son and an ape.
Please kill me. Every moment I live is agony.
Like it's so bad looking. It's
So it's
awful.
almost like Dark Crystal, but
Worse.
not.
Worse.
Oh, worse.
Worse.
Why am I not remembering
It's like a
this?
gray face.
Oh, yes.
And then
Okay,
like
right.
these like
I got it.
like the teeth aren't even teeth, they're just like extensions of like gray clay face. It's so bad. But it does have one of the best fight scenes on the rooftop where the young black kid is like challenging him to fist fight.
Right.
And it takes about 5 minutes where he's punching him, punching him. And then finally Jason rope-a-dopes him. Like he gets tired and he goes, take your best shot. And Jason just punches him once, knocks his head off,
Yeah.
and his head flies off the roof down into a dumpster.
Jason's like, I know your game, bro. Just gonna let you tire yourself out.
So the next worst one in the series, Freddy versus Jason. I think because this one just got way too kitschy. It had way too much fun with itself. It's for you to actually take it seriously as like a horror film.
And I
It's
mean,
just
when you
funny.
start introducing Freddy Krueger into your movie, you know you're pretty low.
This is also the
hate
one
Freddy
where you find
Krueger
out like
movies.
Freddy's really racist, where he's
Oh my god, yeah, he
where the
is.
girl's like, "Hey, Freddy," and he's like, "Oh, dark meat." It's like, I'm totally cool with you murdering children, but
Yeah.
like the second you kill one because you choose her over the other ones in front of you because she's black, it's like, I guess he is the illegitimate child of 100 maniacs who raped his
Right,
mother.
yeah.
So, I mean, mitigating circumstances. But Jason and Freddy fights are actually really good and they're very appropriately gory, but the acting is so terrible and there's awful choppy camera work throughout the entire time. But its saving grace is the fact that Jason Mewes is in it and he gets chopped in half.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, that's right.
next one is this will be the fifth worst one, is Friday the 13th Part 2. It's pretty much a clone of the original one, except instead of Pamela Voorhees, they put
Right.
Jason into
Jason.
it. But it's not the Jason everyone thinks of. Like, this is not where he puts on the hockey mask.
No.
Nope.
This is burlap sack Jason.
Yeah.
And there's just a one eye hole.
We were just watching it. Are you
Yes.
kidding?
Yes.
But it does have one of the best female protagonists in it, and I love the way she beats him at the end when he has Pamela Voorhees' head sitting there
Yeah.
and her sweater, and she puts on the sweater and pretends to be Pam and speaks
She's
to him.
amazing.
Yeah. But one of the best parts of this is the sexual innuendos that are like hidden through, like not just hidden, but like blatantly out there. Like there's a point where a girl and a guy are back at the cabin and they are discussing like what they're going to do and stuff. There's like, oh, we're going to play a game. What are we going to play for? And she's like, position. And that dude is a dude in a wheelchair. And I kept wondering, I was like, how's this going to go? That's going to be pushing a whole lot of rope. But I love her for the effort.
Why are all horror movies based around sex?
Because that's
just
the
go.
allegory. It's meant to like teach teens. It's like, bad things happen to those who don't follow the rules.
What?
But
I mean, if you were a teenage boy, you want to see some people get stabbed and some boobs. Come on. That's just
All right.
tits and gore is why I love horror movies. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if you put those two things in a horror movie, it doesn't make it a great horror movie. It just means I'll stick around
and
and
he
watch it.
chose tits over gore.
Yeah.
So
that was.
I would actually
heard
choose
that.
gore over tits if the gore has to be
you
good.
already. We
we
know
already
what you
said it.
It's
We
cool.
know what you said.
So the next worst one is Friday the 13th Part 3. What's nice about this one, it's when he finally gets the Jason mask. He gets the hockey mask. And I love the reason why. It's because the same year that this came out, Elephant Man came out. And Elephant Man wears a burlap sack with
Yes.
one hole cut into it.
That's
So
correct.
there goes their villain who was wearing a burlap sack the whole time.
You don't want to confuse the two.
You don't want to confuse people. There's a film, The Elephant Man, and Jason Voorhees. You know what? Let's just give him a hockey mask. Is everyone cool with a hockey mask?
So
I
the
have a
guy
question.
playing Jason's like, I'm done with this fucking.
Did Elephant
burlap.
Man kill anybody? Really?
I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. So, what was the?
You
point?
don't want to confuse the movie-going audience. The people who go see Elephant Man are totally the same people who go see Friday the 13th Part 3.
Was Gary Oldman in that one?
I don't remember. I've seen
what
Elephant
the-
Man
okay,
once. I'm
anyway.
actually not a big fan
Go
of
ahead,
it.
anyway.
But that was the reason for the change of the mask. One of the big problems with this one, though, is because this wasn't just Friday the 13th Part 3. This was Friday the 13th 3D. So all the shots in it were made for terrible 3D effects.
Right.
Yeah.
So when Jason shoots a spear into a girl's eyeball, it like
This is Corey Feldman was in this one, right?
that's coming up.
Oh, okay. I thought that was this one. Damn it.
That's the next one.
All right.
We're getting there. So all the shots were made for 3D. It has one of the worst kills ever when Jason like takes a guy's head and smushes it and the eyeball pops out. You can legit
Is this
see
with the
string.
biker gang?
This is the biker gang.
I remember.
I remember that.
They were tough. They were a tough crowd, those three.
And it also has the worst acting ever in it. And this is where the girl discovers all their bodies and she's like,
What's going on?
on. Get up. Shelly, enough is enough. Andy! Debbie! Shelly's dead! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Oh no! Oh,
Are you swimming?
Oh,
What
no.
are you doing there?
That's how she ran.
that's the.
She's swimming.
It was pretty bad.
Oh no!
So the next one, that's the next worst one, is Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. So this is the first time that Kane Hodder actually plays Jason, which for horror fans and fans of the series is a big point. Like, everyone loves Kane Hodder.
Oh, yeah.
But it's also the best effects for Jason without the mask. Actually, like, it's one of the first times they show him without the mask in his new undead form, and it is great looking. Like, they took time, which is funny because in the next one, which we were talked about already, Jason Takes Manhattan, he looks terrible without the mask.
Yeah.
But all the characters are really awful and vapid. Like, you cannot root for any of the female protagonists in this one, except for Tina, which is basically a clone of Carrie. She has telekinesis and uses her telekinetic powers to fight Jason. But it's weird because all the kills, despite the fact that all the special effects were great in it, the kills are actually really lacking in this one.
Yeah.
So it probably is one of the best stories out of all of them, but the kills were really
A
lacking.
lot of the kills were done off screen, right?
Yeah,
you just kind of
they cut
saw
them.
a body, or you just assume that person is dead because
Exactly.
you haven't seen him.
Because a lot of Friday the 13th, it was meant to be a clone of Halloween. They were purposely ripping off Halloween, and no one who was making it ever had any bones about it. That's what they always meant to do.
Is this the start of when Jason's undead and his...
No, that is coming up.
Oh, I thought that's this one. Oh my god.
All right, so Jason X is the next worst one, which is Jason 10. This is where we start, in my mind, getting good. So hold on. I love this one because this is the so bad it's good formula.
Right.
It's very self-aware of itself and the series at this point. And all of the people who fight Jason, who actually give him a fight, are all badass sci-fi women.
Yeah.
All the guys die like bitches. No guy really puts up a great fight, but all the women are badass sci-fi women. And then it also has one of the best kills in the entire series, where he takes the blonde girl's head, puts it in the liquid nitrogen, freezes her face, and then smashes her against the wall. And she just breaks apart into pieces. It is so good. But
At least we weren't bitches.
the movie was bad. All right, now is where Jason is undead, finally. Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. So this is the one that kind of breaks the fourth wall a little bit. Everyone's kind of aware they're in a horror movie. There's ever the scene where he goes to kill a couple in a Jeep, and the guy goes to get out. He goes, I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. And she's like, no, get back in the car. I've seen horror movies. Go the other way. Get away from him.
I like that.
There's kind of like winks to the camera. All the characters are very hip to all the horror tropes, which I loved. And Tommy Jarvis returns, and he's out to kill Jason once and for all, but actually becomes the catalyst for bringing Jason back. And this is where the lightning strikes the wrought iron fence that's been stuck through Jason, and then he comes back to life as a zombie.
I forgot how long it's been since I've seen that movie.
Now we're down to the final two.
All right.
So the second to best one is Friday the 13th, Part 1.
All right.
And this is the one that's a ripoff of Halloween, and they admit it. But some of the kills are fun, but most of them, like you said, they're off screen. I think
They're off screen,
there's
right.
one where like you see someone get their throat slit, and you see Kevin Bacon get the arrow from behind through the neck and stuff like
Love
that.
it.
So there's some fun kill scenes, but it's not all that gory. But it really, this is the movie, even more so than Halloween, solidified the slasher genre. So where Halloween may have brought it back or redefined it, this solidified it by making it annualized and really defined the 80s. Like, if you think of 80s horror, you don't always think of Halloween first. You really do think of Friday the 13th and, Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff like that.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I like those better than the Friday the 13th myself. We just watched Dream Warriors today. We're the Dream Claus?
I did love that one.
All day. That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
The final fight on the beach with Pamela Voorhees is pretty good. And it introduced the main girl. One of the things I love is it introduces the main girl very early on, and she takes that ride up to Crystal Lake, and then she gets out a couple miles from it, and she's walking through the woods, and she gets killed.
Yeah.
You thought that was supposed to be you thought that was your Laurie Strode of the Friday the 13th franchise. Bitch dead. Just dead. All right, and then the best one is Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. You don't remember this one? This is where all the kids rent the house next door to the family. This is where Corey Feldman gets introduced.
Oh,
right.
And Crispin Glover gives one of his greatest, most awkward performances.
It says you're a dead fuck. What? A dead fuck? A lousy lay. You know, dead. Oh, I see. Oh, don't hold it back from me, Doc. I can take it. Give it to me straight.
Do you think I'm a lame fuck?
yeah.
Am I a dead fuck? Like, he just his motivation in the entire movie is to prove I am not a dead fuck.
Now we were watching it, and the hunter guy that was, hanging out in the woods hunting Jason, you're like, this is the guy that's going to take him down. And then next scene, he's already dead on the porch.
I got him confused with Tommy Jarvis from Part 6.
Yeah. Okay.
Where he's the guy that's going to take him down. This is when the franchise starts to become self-aware, and it really starts to amp up the cheese factor and have fun with itself. This is the, first time Jason wears the mask the entire movie.
Yep.
And this literally is the one where it's like, this one is all about horny teens in a house.
It starts with a sex scene in the hospital where his dead, or not the hospital, morgue, or wherever his body was laid at.
Yes.
And we're like, why would you be doing it right next to a dead body?
Because apparently people are really horny.
And the doctor, or whoever he was a real asshole. And I'm like, why is this chick even going for him?
Because his dick.
I guess.
No.
I don't know.
Usually you can look at a guy and be like, he's probably well hung. You look at this guy and you're just like, it's going to look like an acorn glued to his torso.
It's not even like she can say he's got a really good personality, because he really didn't.
No,
The whole time they were making out, he's trying to watch like an aerobics video.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
yeah. Maybe she wanted a strong child. What do you want?
This is my favorite showdown with Jason. This is where Corey Feldman goes to the bathroom, shaves his head, and makes himself look like little Jason Voorhees. Yeah. I really, really like that. And then this is Tom Savini special effects. Mm-hmm. So the blood and gore were on point this time, and it's really the time that they perfected the formula of horny teens versus Jason. They also added that family factor with sister and brother and stuff. And this is, as far as I'm concerned, the quintessential one. So if you're going to watch just one Friday the 13th, watch this one, because it doesn't even get into very much backstory. They basically just offhanded mention that like there's been some kills going on over the past couple of years.
Shit happens.
There's kind of a serial killer out there, so watch yourselves. And then all the kids like just start having sex and not watching themselves.
Here's a condom.
But the Jason movies, they definitely run into each other, and it's hard to figure out which one is which.
It really is.
They're all like the same thing.
Now, for the much shorter series, Halloween. So, which of the Michael Myers films stack up? Let's just get the first one that's the worst out of the way. Halloween 8 Resurrection. This is the one that starts off with Laurie Strode on top of the roof, and she gets killed immediately. And then it centers around a reality TV show, which automatically made me hate it. I understand it's supposed to be satire, but reality TV is the great herpes of entertainment in America today. So.
I only watch reality TV to make myself feel better about myself.
Fair enough.
We watch one reality show?
Ink Master. And we hate the hosts, and we mostly hate the contestants, but we just love looking at the art.
I'm more Love Island British stuff, so
right.
And this is where they gave you a shitty explanation for Michael's return, because if you remember in the last one, Laurie cut his head off with an axe. And then they were like, no, that wasn't Michael. That was a paramedic that he changed clothes with and put the mask on. And then he ran away into the woods. Michael doesn't take off his mask.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that. Not willingly.
No, he really likes that mask.
He likes that mask an awful lot.
Security blanket.
And it was so bad that they just ended the series after that. And they're like, we're done. Until Rob Zombie was ready to do remakes.
Hey.
We'll leave it alone for now.
We're not talking about remakes anyway, right?
We're not talking about remakes. The next worst one is Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. This is where you find out that Michael Myers was created by the cult of Thorn. It has this weird incest plot where, like, they created Michael Myers to be the perfect evil and killing machine, and they need something from his bloodline to continue, so they get Jamie, who was the secret sister, who was the secret daughter of Laurie Strode, and they have her kidnapped, and they actually cut out the rape scene, or the scene where they explain that she was raped by Michael Myers. And in lieu, they just basically say that it is the seed of Michael Myers.
Right.
Meaning she could have been artificially inseminated.
Where's Jay here? He likes that.
He loves
I mean, he would have been on top of this one.
Like, I feel bad that he's not here to witness.
Hey, don't worry. We gave him an incest movie this week. We did the loved ones on over on the first episode for Halloween this week. So he got a little bit of incest there, and he was happy.
Lucky him.
There's also, this is the one with the awful edited story because unfortunately Donald Pleasance died.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Right after filming Wrap, so they didn't get to do pickup shoots or anything like that with him. So they ended up having to edit some stuff out based on him not being around for the reshoots when they made some rewrites. It tries really hard to add backstory and motivation into Michael with the whole cult of Thorn being the reason that he's there. But it's saving grace. Paul Rudd plays Tommy. And
Paul Rudd.
If you watch this movie, which came out in the mid-1990s, early 1990s, you will realize that Paul Rudd doesn't age.
He does not age, no.
He's gorgeous.
Whatever fountain of youth that guy has, I don't care if it's suppository. I want it, and I want to stop aging. I want to be like him. So.
He's a good-looking guy.
Yes, he is.
Halloween 3 is the next worst one. This is the one without Michael Myers. It's the whole plot of warlocks who are trying to control kids and kill children through the Silver Shamrock Halloween masks.
It's really the one I really, really hate.
So
it's so bad.
Here's how did you ever wonder how those masks work when they start spewing bugs and snakes out of them and stuff like that? These masks are powered by microchips that are made from the fragments of Stonehenge. And they are triggered by a TV commercial that is meant to be a satire for the commercialization of Halloween. This is where they were like, we don't need Michael Myers because we saw his eyeballs get shot out in two. Then he got burned. So let's
go somewhere else.
Let's make it an anthology series and tell something without Michael. And then everyone went, hey, bring back Michael Myers. Yeah, we're not going to do that one again.
I watched that one twice and I was like, what?
I saw it once when I was younger and I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Never again.
That was so stupid.
So people hated it. I hated it. And, you know, once they realized that it wasn't going to put butts in seats, you know, the studio just danced like the good little monkeys they were. And they brought Michael back. So the next worst one is Halloween 5, Revenge of Michael Myers. This is the one with the two bumbling cops. And I kid you not, when the two bumbling cops show up, there is squeaking clown shoes sound effect in the audio. Yeah.
So this is the barn with the kittens.
This is the barn with the kittens. Yes. Jamie has this weird psychic connection with Michael where whenever he goes to kill, she like snaps into his mind and is putting on. Oh my God. It does have a little bit of fun with itself and the premise, just like a little bit, but it's not enough to really save it. And it has a terrible ending, really, really boring kills, and just the worst Michael motivations ever.
Yeah.
This is the one where she gets into a grave at the end and pretends to be dead.
Yeah,
and she's like, Uncle, and like reaches out to touch him.
Don't
and
touch me.
he takes his mask off so she can touch his face, and then I don't know, something goes awry and he's like, kill the bitch.
Yeah. No. People are stupid.
Now we come to Halloween 4. This is when the studio was like, hey, people didn't like the Silver Shamrock masks.
Gee, really?
Let's go back with Michael Myers.
What would give you that idea?
So this one, they made sure they put it right in the title for you. Halloween 4 is The Return of Michael Myers. This is 10 years later, and we find out that Laurie is dead off screen. She died in a car accident, but not before she had a secret baby named Jamie, who has now been adopted by a new family. Are we recycling story plots? Maybe just a little.
So did the studio go to Jamie Lee Curtis and go, do you want to come back for 4? And she's like, fuck this shit.
Fuck no, I'm going to make True Lies in a couple years, so I'm going to wait around for that.
Yeah, and they're like, we're going to kill this bitch.
And I'm going to sell some yogurt, so we're good.
So it just wasn't great, but at least it was a return to formula, and it wasn't Silver Shamrock masks.
And at least we had him back, Michael Myers.
Now we're down to the final 4. So Halloween 2. This is where we get the explanation that Laurie is his sister. This is much more violent than the original one.
Yes.
But also the backstory kind of takes away a little bit from Michael. But at the time, this was written by John Carpenter, not directed, but at least written by him. And it's actually his biggest regret was making Michael Myers and Laurie Strode siblings. But as far as it goes, it's kind of like fitting. It literally takes place in the same.
I enjoy it. Yeah.
It takes place in the same night as Halloween. It's different, and they wanted to fucking end it. Like, it's a fitting end to Michael Myers.
Right.
Although Laurie should try out for the Avengers, because Hawkeye wasn't in Infinity War, but she is a Deadeye with that pistol. At like 10 feet away, she's like, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Like 2 headshots in each of his eyeballs.
And I feel like she doesn't really pick up guns a whole lot.
No one explains when Michael Myers returns in part 4. How does he have eyeballs?
Yeah.
She shot those motherfuckers out of his head.
Maybe she wasn't as good as the shot as we thought she was.
No, he just grows them back.
He just grows them back.
That's just, no, that
There
makes sense.
is a theory that you can check out online where Michael Myers has actually been a cyborg or an android since after this one.
Really?
Okay.
Yep.
Fine.
And
fine.
a cyborg that was made by the Silver Shamrock Corporation.
Oh, jeez.
At that. Just to fit the third one into the plot. Just so we can all be even Steven. The next one is Halloween H2O.
Yes.
One of the worst parts of this is its name, because this is Halloween dehydration. I'm thirsty. H2O. I need some water. Can you hear me? So the best part about it is Jamie Lee is back, and she brings Michelle Williams and Joseph Gordon-Levitt along for the ride.
Yeah.
Josh Hartnett, too.
At Josh Hartnett in it as well.
Ooh, someone have a little thing.
I
for-
love Josh
Oh,
Hartnett.
all right.
I was all over this one.
Nope.
So
I
when you
wasn't.
see Joseph Gordon-Levitt, now I saw this in the theaters, and like I was explaining to Lauren when Halloween 2018 was over, I saw H2O in the theaters.
Yeah.
That was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Oh shit!
No, it wasn't.
1998, 2018,
Oh.
20
Oh.
years ago. And in my mind, when I saw it then, I go, oh, I didn't think like that's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I know the fucker's name. I went,
Yeah.
that's the kid who flaps his arms for angels.
I totally forgot he was even in that movie until you were watching it a couple weekends ago and you mentioned him. I'm like,
And he gets the
holy
hockey
shit.
skate to the
Yep.
face.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch it. It's been years.
It could have been another fitting end to Michael Myers, as we said, because Laurie chopped his head off, but Resurrection went and fucked that up. So the seeds are planted for the 2018 sequel because Laurie Strode is suffering from PTSD and alcoholism and a constant state of readiness and preparation, although not so much. I mean, you find out that she faked her death and stuff like that,
Right.
but she's always been fearful of the return of Michael, even following her all the way
Now,
to California.
she obviously has this past, but she doesn't tell her boyfriend. He's a boyfriend, right? At the time?
She tells him while she's making out with him, and he is chewing
That's right.
something, and
That's
she's
right.
like, "It's not my real
Yeah.
name. I'm Laurie Strode," and he's like, "Okay, just suck my dick, please." And then she's like,
Do
"No."
something better with that
and then
mouth
she
of
like,
yours.
and then she like gets mad at him, and she's just like, "No, I'm serious. That's not my name. My name's Laurie Strode." And he's like, "I thought we were role playing. Like, don't be mad at me. You were sending mixed signals. I'm all for no means no, but
Yeah.
don't start making out with him and then be like, I'm gonna drop a bombshell."
Yeah.
Right
I mean,
here,
it's the perfect
right now.
time. Baby, we got something to talk about later.
Oh.
After I make out with you.
Oh.
I'm always worried when we're doing it. You're gonna be like, I'm pregnant, and I'll be like, I don't want to put it in there now.
Poking the baby's eyes or
Poking the
something.
baby, and then he's gonna come out and be like, "Yo, motherfucker, how's this feel?"
Come on, another guy child would be nice.
Oh, not for a while.
Anyway.
after Disney next year.
Okay, that's fine. I'll take it.
The kills are actually really boring and uninventive in this one, and it's a nice, like, just formula story. Although Michael is like weirdly superhuman in this one. It's the one where like he's in the rafters in the ceiling, and Laurie walks past him, and he drops down super slow, like one-handed. You're the best around. He's like Rocky Balboa, just like doing one-armed pull-ups and stuff. You're just
Kato.
But it's all right. It's not too bad.
He had a lot of time to work out.
Second to best one, Halloween 2018. Does the smart thing, ignores all the dribble and shit that we've been discussing for the past 30 minutes.
Has it
Just
been 30? I thought it was been like an hour.
No, we did 15 minutes up front. It's been 45 minutes, so.
Oh, okay.
30 minutes.
I was just checking.
So it smartly ignores all the sequels. It is actually a compelling version of Laurie and the ravages of what it means to be a survivor, like what it does to you. And she becomes a shape herself. She, it's what's left behind. So I love that. It is some of the best kills in the entire series. There are some annoying teen moments, but what slasher film isn't without those? And it takes certain concepts from other sequels and reapplies them in compelling, believable ways without adding too much backstory to Michael Myers and taking away his mystique. So I loved all of that. And silver shamrock masks do make an appearance in this movie. So plenty of Easter eggs for Halloween aficionados.
No.
Yes, they do.
No. All right, fine. I'll take it.
And of course, the best one, probably the quintessential slasher film, the one that really kickstarted the genre after Psycho had left it behind about 10 years before it came out. Halloween 1978. It's just the best one. Pays brilliant homage to Psycho. It has the most fantastic score of a horror movie.
And you reminded me that Michael Myers can definitely faint.
Yes. So
that man knows how to faint.
The kills are truly brutal and intense and thrilling to watch, but they leave a lot to the imagination because they don't show gore. It's a lot of implied violence, and the movie plays on your dread of Michael appearing more so than what he does when he appears, which is really
even
great.
when in the closet, so right before the closet scene, and you just see his face. So you see her, Laurie, in the corner, and you just see the dark, I guess the door space, and Michael's white mask just appears. And you're like, oh shit, I remember how I felt when I saw that.
And like part of the score and part of like when Michael's around is that you hear Michael's breath, so you know he's there, but no one else is aware. And of course, that kill with Bob. I love that.
Bob.
But he's like, babe, you want a beer?
Bob.
Oh, God. And then he gets like, and the way, like when he gets, so there's not a lot of blood, but he stabs him to the cupboard and holds him there.
And then he just
just stares at him.
The way he looks at him, it's just like, you were super, like if Luca brought me a dead animal and was just like, aren't you super proud of me? And I'd be like, yeah, I am. Look at that.
I still say he wanted to make sure that knife was going to hold up Bob on the doorway.
I'm going to buy another one of those and finish tonight.
That's a good knife. I should have grabbed a couple more from the hardware store.
It's honestly the best slasher movie ever made, and it's the reason the genre exists today. It's just a simple concept, brilliantly executed, and it's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. So, out of all the ones we discussed, which would you say is your favorite?
Definitely the original Halloween.
Kim?
I'll go with that.
The original Halloween?
Yeah.
And me too. So I think because that is the original, it's the one we all liked the best. Not just because Halloween 2018 came out this year. It's well remembered, and it's John Carpenter. I mean,
it's amazing.
Even if the new one didn't come out this year, that is definitely my top number one. Absolutely.
Even though Michael Myers does get a case of the vapors from time to time and faints.
Dude, I never even noticed it before. I just never paid attention. And then you said it earlier to me, and I paid attention. Yeah. I'm like, holy crap, that man knows how to faint.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's when he first comes into Tommy's house and Laurie's hiding on the couch. She stabs him in the neck with the knitting needle. And he reaches back in like pain and he pulls it out and he literally goes, he takes a look at it and he's like, oh, mercy.
I'm dead.
I need a
Mercy me, I got the vapors.
No, he didn't drop. He dropped like a freaking
I mean,
rock.
he dropped.
He was like, bah.
And then later on, when Laurie's in the closet and his face pops in, she's like, "Nah," with the coat hanger.
There was also a knife involved. She did stab him in the chest too.
She takes his eye out, which in 2018 he has a milky eye
He
because she
does,
stabbed
yep.
him with the coat hanger in the eye, and she stabs him with a knife. He like gets the knife out and he looks. He's like, "You made me bleed my own blood." Drop.
Yep.
He faints again.
He's afraid of his own blood.
Right.
Leave the poor kid alone, okay? God, everybody has issues.
Everyone tonight, poke yourself. Do you faint when you see your blood?
No, I don't.
This is
but
a
I've
test.
seen people do it.
So despite all that, it is still the best one, and I absolutely love it, and that's why we've been paying so much homage to
And
it
don't
this
poke yourself and make yourself bleed. It was a joke, people.
You may
don't
faint.
don't do it.
You may faint.
Put that goddamn knife down.
Go ahead, you can poke me.
No.
Put the knife down,
I
people.
won't pass out, I swear.
So first you've had every single type of guy in you,
Yeah.
and now you want Lauren to poke you?
Oh, wait,
What is
hold
going on?
You were gonna cut that out.
Nah, now it stays in forever. Coming up next, me and Lauren are going to get into a trailer park for the remake of Pet Sematary. Listen up, Jay. Now that we finished our discussion on Halloween and Friday the 13th franchise fight, we've decided the winner is Michael Myers for now and probably forever. We can put that fight to bed, and we are ready to move on to our trailer park. Lauren has stayed on to join us for Trailer Park, but Kim had to get going, so we have Jay here, and Lauren and both Kim have a big problem with this, Jay, that you're here to do Trailer Park for Pet Sematary because you didn't even know that this was a movie in 1989. You didn't even know that this film existed. You didn't even know what the property was, anything like that, let alone that it was even a Stephen King story. You knew nothing about this.
And I was even one of those people that was asking why it was spelled like that. You know, I got chastised pretty hardcore earlier on from Kim when she got off, and then now it's Lauren's turn.
All around a terrible person. Jesus.
Just a terrible guy to be on a movie podcast.
Yeah, seriously.
Look, people know I'm not the biggest horror fan person, and also it's an older movie, and I did not get into movies until later on in life. So these are one of those movies.
Movies.
I still don't think it's excuse. It's not a good excuse anyway.
Me and Lauren just watched the original one this weekend, and it's, you know what? I still like it.
I do too.
It's not a fantastic movie. It's not even like in my top 10 of horror films or anything like that, but it is solid, especially all the scenes with Zelda.
Never get out of bed again! Never get out of bed again!
But again, like after seeing this trailer, the new trailer, and then seeing that older trailer afterwards, it's kind of like, how do I bring myself to see that original? Because it looks god awful.
The original.
It's so good.
It is. It's really good, and it's very atmospheric. And the guy who plays Judd also played Herman Munster, Fred Gwynn, and he actually loved that role so much. Like he literally felt that he was born to play that role.
Wow!
Like when he read that script and that was offered to him, he felt like he was born to play that role, and he did fantastic. And he's actually like Fred Gwynn's actually what makes that movie. I love
You
the
are
way
quoting
he
him all weekend.
Sometimes Dad's better. I absolutely love his voice. Like his voice is just so perfect. And in the new one that's coming out, John Lithgow's gonna play the role of Judd. So I like John Lithgow a lot. I think there's a lot of depth to him as an actor and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see him. But when I hear John Lithgow say, "Dad's badass," it's like,
Do you
not
think
as
he's
good.
Do you think he's going to like walk in the house like the 1989 Judd did? I'm like, dude, can we knock at least?
yeah,
He just kept walking in their house.
Now he's a good old farm boy from across the street.
Yeah, I guess.
Around here, we just walk in each other's houses.
It's true though. They don't lock doors. People just come and go.
All right.
In a day like that. Yeah.
So, Jay, for a movie homework, someday Pet Sematary will be on it before this movie comes
perhaps
out.
the release date in April.
Yeah, we'll probably push it out for you because you have a lot on your movie homework
do.
plate that we haven't gotten around to.
This is true.
So once we get around to you watching some of those other movie homeworks, once you get some of your other homework assignments done, then then we'll get you into this, and you may get a passing grade by the end of the year. We'll see.
We'll see.
All right, so let's get into the trailer.
So many trees.
It's beautiful, right?
It's definitely not Boston.
Here we go. Okay, so what do you think?
Wow. This whole place is ours?
I even got him to throw in a whole forest as a new backyard.
It was a myth. Kids used to dare each other to go into the woods at night. They knew the power of that place. They feared it. Those woods belong to something else. The ground is bad. Maybe just some crazy folk tale. But there is something up in those woods. Something that brings things back. Sometimes dead is better.
All right, Jay. Let's start with you, man. What did you think of this trailer?
And I liked the drums. I liked seeing the kids in the masks. I thought it was pretty creepy. I thought all the images were pretty effective and also practical. Even towards the end with some of the jump scares, I thought they were enticing enough where it didn't look cheap. I'm intrigued. I mean, it's definitely leading up to and teasing an interesting story, and I don't know exactly what that is
Because you didn't see the original.
or read the book. So
everybody who
I'll
listens
find
to
out in April.
Everybody who listens to the show who found out last week that you don't even know what The Raven is by Edgar Allan Poe. You only found out when I played the Simpsons clip for you of The Raven.
It's torture. Yeah.
Everyone knows that you don't.
I'm sorry, what's torture? Reading?
No, actually,
Well, that too, but no.
the 4-minute long part in The Simpsons was torture for him, is what he's saying.
Well, first of all, it's a lot to grasp, and having the Simpsons visuals laid over top of it.
Which is why you use The Simpsons to grasp it.
That's why I couldn't
They
grasp
make it
because
funny.
there's too much going on visually where my brain can't process what he's saying because it's all.
You can't read. So for me and Lauren, like the trailer actually starts off like right after they pull up to the house. The first thing that happens in the trailer is that first jump scare of that truck.
Of the truck,
just
yes.
going flying by, which means a lot if you've seen the original movie.
And I totally forgot about like how often they always show the truck passing in the original. It scares the crap out of me each time it happens.
Yeah, it definitely sets you up for what happens halfway through that movie. And, you know, like Jay was saying, I really like the atmosphere that they're setting up here. Like, I think you're right. The production quality doesn't look cheap. It looks nice. But I also, the way like those drums are playing, it seems like this isn't anything that's in the book. It's not anything that was in the original movie, but the kids like taking the dog in the wheelbarrow.
It's
up to the
adding
pet center.
something to the film,
right? It's adding that
or mystery.
There's like some ritual behind like burying your dog in the pet cemetery, even if those kids aren't taking it, beyond the log fall to the actual Indian burial ground that lies beyond the pet cemetery. There's some ritual in this town about taking your pet to this pet cemetery in this kind of like very macabre way, where it's like it's weird that the whole town like pays homage to their pets by taking them to this place, even though that's not the place that they come back to life from.
Right.
One of the other things that I noticed in it was in the book, Judd's wife is pretty prominent in the book. She's in it, and she actually dies in the book a lot like Creed's son Gage dies. But in the book, Judd doesn't bury her in the pet cemetery. She dies of like natural causes, where Gage doesn't die of natural causes. But they show clips of her here as well, so I'm getting the feeling like they're going to have a more faithful book adaptation of the movie than even the original one did. And what's interesting about the original one, it was written by Stephen King. Like, the book was written by Stephen King, and so was the screenplay. So he wasn't even faithful to his own,
right?
Which is really funny when like you think about how much he hated Stanley Kubrick's The Shining because it wasn't faithful enough to his book, and then he goes and rewrites his own story.
Well, I think he realized how hard it is to adapt something to screen.
I think he just realized that cocaine was a hell of a drug for Stephen King in the 80s. It was a big deal.
That's how he pumped out all those books. Yeah.
That's how he still does it. I don't care what he says. He just changed cocaine to marijuana, and he got his he got his medical card.
Yeah.
But one of the things in the book is how the pet cemetery exists, right? So the pet cemetery is there, and they know that it brings things back, but they just say it's an Indian burial ground. And that's really all the explanation you need. But in the book, they actually get into the fact that there's a creature in the woods, a Native American creature called a Wendigo, that actually cursed the ground that brings things back from the dead. But it's definitely like a very creepy concept, and I love the concept of it. And the Stephen King book is amazing, and I'm liking everything that I'm seeing here. And creepy kitty cats sitting in the middle of the street.
It looks fun. It's a well done trailer, I think. Lauren?
No, agree. It looks creepy. It looks spooky. I'm really excited. Yeah.
Well, you will love the first one too, right?
Yeah, I like the first one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So do you think there's a lot of elements from the first movie that you loved that you saw in the trailer?
Oh, yeah. So like I told Dave, the little boy who plays Cage, creeped the shit out of me in the first one. He's definitely really creepy in this one too. He's like this little blonde, very, very pale face. And, I mean, he's cute as hell, but
and beady eyes.
Right.
Beady fucking eyes.
What do you think about Jason Clarke playing the lead male? Is he the lead male? Is he like the essential guy going through? Okay.
Yeah.
I liked that voice. I liked his yell during that one spot in the trailer. I thought that was pretty.
That's a weird.
It was effective. It was effective.
You also liked his feet when they were covered in.
No,
mud.
I hated the feet.
No, he said the feet look fake.
Well, it did. It looked fake.
Those don't look like feet.
They told him put the prosthetics on. Don't worry, we won't actually get your feet dirty. Just put prosthetics on.
It looked like Hobbit feet, like really wide and muddy and dirty. And besides, I don't like feet anyway. So
maybe Jason Clarke.
No fetishes here.
Maybe Jason Clarke just has some dirty ass feet, man.
It's possible.
He's got some grody ass feet. And you're fucking giving him a complex about it. Well, it probably took him a lot of time and encouragement to get up the nerve to actually take off his shoes. And for
next time he's in Philly, we'll have him over on the show and we can talk about it. We'll work this out.
And you'll massage his feet for him.
Yeah, you have to touch his feet.
It definitely looks good. I just wish that John Lithgow's voice sounded as good as Fred Gwynn's. It doesn't. When you're so used to hearing it in Fred Gwynn's voice and it sounds the way it does coming from him, when you hear Judd, and it sounds like John Lithgow, it's like,
yeah.
He doesn't add as much, I don't know, without having that booming voice, like I feel like he doesn't add as much to the character. However, I know how great of an actor John Lithgow is. So
exactly.
So I know
it's a nice beard.
It's a good beard.
It's a good beard. You don't see him wear a beard very often.
You're focusing on all the wrong things.
I'm just saying, I 100% right.
He can totally play off like the friendly old neighbor that lives across the street that walks into your house.
He's played the doddering old man before when he had Alzheimer's in Rise of the Planet of of the Apes.
Right.
All right. Yeah.
So I'm definitely looking forward to this. It comes out in April of 2019,
Boo.
which is this is really early on to be showing this. So Paramount Pictures is putting a lot behind this. It looks like they're kind of hoping to kind of cut that time between it coming out so that they can get theirs out, like their Stephen King out just before Warner Brothers.
Promote it before these Halloween movie trailers. You know,
Right,
I mean, it's all coming out in October, so we'll see.
It's good marketing, and then like for people like me and Lauren and you who are excited for It Chapter 2, which doesn't come out till September, you know, this is a nice little.
This has been a terrible night finding out all these dates. Jeez.
This will be a nice like Stephen King stopgap between them because Dark Tower definitely let Stephen King fans down. So if people were like,
especially Dave,
big time me, I hated that movie. So we are all definitely looking forward to Pet Sematary, and we will definitely be reviewing it the week it comes out. Certainly intriguing.
Looking forward to it.
So that's actually going to do it for this part 2 of the Halloween episode. We've discussed everything. This is all the stuff we couldn't fit into the main episode, so we had to split it up and put it in this part 2. So I want to thank everybody for listening. I'm not going to go through where you can find us all because we already did that in the other episode. Have a great night. Cheers.
Cheers.